Welcome, welcome, everyone. So happy that you're here with us today. We have an awesome, awesome show, kind of a show, I suppose, for you today. We are going to have Jason ask a couple of leaders in our community some questions about recent deals that they've closed. So, really, really excited for you all to be able to witness this. And if you feel so brave, go ahead and comment any questions that you might have about these deal breakdowns, and we'll kind of go ahead and get started. So, thank you so much, Jason, Keith. And Mandy and George, y'all are superstars for being here today, and I will go ahead and be in the back helping out if need be.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. And thank you to Morby Media. I think that this is an essential show that the team does. There's a lot of great stories out there, like you're going to hear today from Keith, Mandy, and George, and they need to be heard because people need to understand that not only can you be successful in these endeavors, but there's a bunch of people out there that want you to be successful as well. So I wanted to say that. Before we get started, a little bit about myself. My name is Jason Bates. I am a sub 2 and Gator student along with a top tier certified TC. I am the co-founder of Venture Vibes Funds, where we raise private capital for the buying of RV parks, boutique hotels, and other vacation type properties. In fact, I've got an RV park under contract as we speak. So anybody looking to invest, please reach out to me. We're showing really, really positive returns, 18% cash on cash and 2x multiplier, so equity multiplier. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm also co-owner of Finish Line TC Services, but we're actually not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about these amazing individuals. And I want to start with Keith and Mandy, because I think my mom might be watching, and if I don't let the lady go first, then I'll definitely hear about it. So Mandy, I'll start with you. What were you doing before you entered real estate and joined Sub 2?
Jason, thank you for the introduction. I don't know how we haven't met yet. I'm also in the same communities as you, the TC Gator owners and Sub 2. But prior to real estate, I was in the corporate world selling seafood to food distributors. So we were importing from 28 different countries and exporting all across the country. So anybody eating seafood around the United States is probably something that I imported at some point before finding out about this real estate world.
There you go. What about you, Keith? What about you, my friend? What got you started?
I was in the skilled trades. So I was running welding and electrical divisions, and yeah, just kind of fell into the real estate thing, started flipping houses, and yeah, here we are.
There you go. George, what about you, my friend? What were you doing before you got into real estate and joined Sub 2?
I was your disgruntled postal worker here in the Houston area, delivering mail, delivering pills, and sometimes divorce papers, and just trying to put that smile on people's faces that actually enjoyed getting the mail instead of getting used to email and all the other stuff. But yeah, and enjoy that lifestyle, but trying to get into this and learning that it's a lot harder than expected, but there are so many values out of it to where it's just hitting the pavement hard and learning to run a business. It's a lot more rewarding in the long run.
Right. And I would just say, George, that it's harder than you want it to be. It's not hard. It's just maybe harder than you want it to be. And so you definitely don't look disgruntled anymore. So that's good news.
Yeah. Thanks.
So Keith and Mandy, what made you two decide to join the community?
Actually, I went out to a live event, and it was on storage units, and Pace was one of the speakers, and he got done telling about like creative finance and everything like that. And I think we'd been flipping for like about 2 years, but we've been using our own money and doing it kind of like traditionally off the MLS. And after hearing his speech at the stage, I followed him like out of the room and tracked him down. I'm like, hey, I want to know more about what you just talked about. And he asked where I was from, told him Jacksonville, pulled out his phone, gave me phone numbers to April, and just came home and told Mandy all about it, and we started Sub 2. And then of course she had to join everything else.
I'm sure it's paid off tenfold. I know for me, I could say I started with Sub 2 as well. Yeah. And then I did join the other two, and they've all paid off tenfold. I can honestly say that. I'm sure you guys can too.
Yeah, for sure.
But George, What about you, my friend? What was the catalyst that made you join the community?
It was I guess the power of networking of being in part of different groups within the real estate world, of kind of not being an agent and being in a non-disclosure state of Texas. And so learning how can I run comps is like, you have a network, you have to meet other people. So it was meeting JJ Azion that has his own group here in on Facebook, and connecting with other sub 2 members, being part of their teams and learning, I guess from the bottom up, being a lead manager and getting a couple deals, and then just, say making that plunge and investing into sub 2. And like you're saying, it's paid back, and I can say it's way worth it. But also learning as I grow to keep educating myself in other mentorships as well.
Yeah, I always say if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So always be learning something.
True.
As long as you're taking action, right? So
True.
Definitely want to learn and take action. So Keith, Mandy, tell us a little bit about your deal. How'd you find it?
So the deal we're talking about today is one that we bought with zero of our own money. It's an oceanfront condo. We already own a condo in that same building. It was our first rental property that we purchased. We were living in Ohio and needed a place to stay when we came back to Florida. All of our friends were here. My W-2 was here, so we were going to be bouncing back and forth a lot, and also had a infant, so we didn't want to be couch surfing and carrying a whole bunch of stuff. So we bought a property here. Started networking with other people that owned in that same building, and they wanted to sell their property in about 5 years, and it was oceanfront. So that's something that we always wanted, but thinking it was 5 to 10 years down the road before they were going to sell and we were going to be in a position to buy it. Well, they wanted to sell earlier. He was a school teacher that couldn't handle the changes in the system and wanted to retire, cash in on their equity, etc., and came to us for an offer. We weren't in a position to buy it. We weren't cash heavy. We had a lot of other projects in the pipeline. I had just left my W-2, so we weren't financeable through a bank. So we weren't even going to pursue making an offer, but they came to us 2 or 3 different times, said that they were going to list with an agent on Monday. And this was, I think, Thursday. And we were like, well, we might as well just pitch them a subject to seller finance hybrid deal, etc. So we typed it out, sent it their way. Didn't hear anything for 2 days, and they came back to us. And the only thing that they counter offered us on, I think we offered them $1,500 a month monthly payments, and they came back at $1,750. It was the easiest proposal that we've ever had. Usually when we send out our LOIs or our subject to offers or any creative, we typically have to explain the deal, the liabilities, the whole process, their benefits, the reason it's good for us, good for them, tax savings, etc. They asked no questions, and we were able to sell it. They were super happy with all the terms, and we have an oceanfront condo that we're going to use indefinitely.
I love that, and it's such a win-win. People think in creative finance, oh, the buyer wins and the seller loses. Actually, not everybody wins in the day. You can pull all the leverage you need to. It's called creative finance because you can be as creative as you want to be. At the end of the day, you got a property that you can afford and use as an investment if you so choose, and then they've got a property that they were able to sell, collect their equity over time, so they're not. So they're not hit with a big tax burden. And if you're a retired teacher, you'd love to have that monthly paycheck. So I totally get that. So between their retirement and that monthly check you guys send them every month, I'm sure they are just incredibly happy.
Exactly. Well, we also gave them an over asking offer. So they were going to list for $725,000. We came in at $750,000. So it gave them more than what they were expecting. We're also in Florida, so I don't know if anybody's familiar with the condo crisis right now, but they implemented a milestone inspection that every condo that was above 3 stories has to be inspected. And this being that this is oceanfront, that was challenging for everybody. I think condos are sitting, 40 to 60% longer is on market. So the potential of them getting an offer for what they actually wanted without an inspection, no realtor fees. So that alone saved them about $50,000 there too. It really just worked out for them, the timing. And then they didn't have to juggle in between guests because they were Airbnb it too. So people that wanted to look at it with their realtor There's
Right.
going to be a lot of interruptions. So they were super happy. It was an easy transaction, no financing contingencies, inspection contingencies, and
There you go.
days on
Yeah.
market, etc.
Those are the things people forget when the bank's not involved. You don't have appraisals and inspections, and yeah, that's huge. And it's funny you say 25K because I bought my first rental property is in Punta Gorda, Florida, and I got 25. I paid 25K over asking so that I could get principal only payments, and it was well worth it. Well worth it.
And then we got the 0% interest.
Yeah.
However,
Okay. So
because
you got principal payments only too then. Okay. Perfect.
but because we paid over, we just incorporated the principal payment or the interest payments within that.
Yeah, you're basically giving them their profit because if you guys decide to cash out in a year, they would have made less interest, but you already gave them their profit, and so everybody's happy. Again, both parties won in this particular case, and that's huge. That's the thing I need to be the biggest takeaway is both parties won. So
100%. And that's what we were excited about. We're like, yes, we got an oceanfront condo, but however, we also helped this person retire and still have a monthly income and sustainability for that.
And we got a 3% interest rate on the loan that we subject to, and then 0% on the owner finance. So
perfect. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, there was probably a reason why he's picked 1750. That was his sweet number that he needed to go to retirement. So
even like a golf membership or something.
Yeah.
It could be anything, but the thing is you guys happily solved the problem, and so that's what's cool.
Yep.
Very cool. George, what about you? Tell us a little about your deal. How did you find it, and give us some details on it.
Yeah, Jason, it was a deal off of my I've been blessed to be part of a networking event here in Houston, and so I was hosting it and kind of going through the benefits of it. And so this deal happened to come from one of the lawyer. I'm not sure if she just strictly real estate, but she is a lawyer, and so she had a client that they thought that subject to would work out great, but for some reason somebody else pitched it. And not saying that I pitched it better, but for some reason the seller felt more comfortable in a sense where going back to what it was the perfect solution to the problem is they were their property, I believe, had a HUD lien on it, a silent one. So putting on the market was going to take longer than expected since there's no equity, and somebody would potentially have to come in over asking to pay that. So the situation was they had a family member that's very ill and had to fly out to Hungary. And so they didn't even have time to list it on the market. So being able to kind of underwrite it and see, what they wanted, and they were willing to, us take over the mortgage as long as they got $5,000 out of it. And so running it with my underwriter, it made sense. And it was a little bit of a hassle because they needed to close within a certain time frame. And so because we didn't have the buyer lined up, because I was just trying to assign it to somebody, it was taking that risk of giving them a certain amount up front out of my own capital, and like my partner saying, "No, George, I wouldn't do that." It's like, hell, it's a gamble, but we want to help these people out to where at least give them so much up front, but have the right paperwork in place to where I'll get it back once we close. And so, yeah, I mean, it worked out. We found a buyer that was actually picking up rentals in that area, so he's got a rental. The sellers were able to go to Hungary, and yeah, they're happy. I follow up with them every once in a while through email since it's a little bit harder to communicate since they're overseas. But I think, yeah, in a nutshell, that was the deal, is just being able to understand what their situation was and creative financing being the perfect fit for the problem they were facing.
Well, first of all, George, you got to own the fact that you did pitch it better. So
Yeah, okay.
you got the deal. So you pitched it better. You got to own that. And second, I wouldn't call it a gamble. I would call it a calculated risk, because you clearly did the underwriting. You understood what you were getting into. And that's another takeaway I want people watching this to understand is we're not gambling with properties. We're not gambling with our money. We've done the underwriting. We understand the value. We're helping somebody. We're going to give an investor a property. So speaking of giving an investor a property, if you don't mind sharing, what did you make on that? What was your assignment fee?
I believe it was 10,000.
There you go.
No one, yeah. And
so that was a great calculated risk.
True. But the fact that, and I think Keith and Mandy alluded to it, it seems like it was like, say, it went perfect. It was the right medicine for the right, I guess not sickness, but situation. And so it was a way smoother than other deals where I kind of analyze it like it's sometimes I'm trying to put a square peg through a circle shape when I shouldn't be having to do that all the time.
Right.
Part of the process.
But you can put a circle in a square box, so that works out. It all depends on how you look at it.
True.
That's very
and
cool.
You took action. You did it, which you learned from every single one.
Yeah.
What you could have done better, what you could have done worse, what did work, what didn't work, how to pitch that, another pain point that someone else might have experienced that you didn't realize.
True.
And that goes right back to like our situation. Like we just wrote the offer. Like it was the easiest one. If we wouldn't have taken action and written an offer, we would have lost it. We wouldn't be here talking about it. But we just took that one step, like we've done subject T's before and all this stuff. And we're like, oh, shoot, it's Thursday night. We'll shoot it over before Monday, you know, and it worked out perfect. So it's just about like, Jason was saying about taking action.
Yeah. And we don't fail, we learn, right? So that's the whole thing about achieving outcomes, right? So your outcome was twofold. One was to solve the seller's problem and to get them into retirement. And so the more you can make them feel comfortable about what retirement looks like, the more motivated they'll be to sell for you. And two, you solved the problem for you guys to having a oceanfront property where you guys need to be. And so that was your outcome. And if it wasn't quite going the way you would, you just shift and come up with a new outcome. So, that's very powerful. Just, we don't fail, we learn. So awesome. So I know you guys are going to have great answers for this next question. So how was the community involved? I know, Mandy, you're a TC. Did you TC the transaction? Did you guys use any Gator lenders? Do you use people in the community to help you with these transactions?
So we did not use a TC. I've always done all of our paperwork from all of our transactions. So I joined the TC community primarily just to understand more of the technical purposes, and then meet other people there. And we did have a private money lender. So they lent us the down payment as well as $25,000 more than the down payment. So we could do some additional furnishing and some simple repairs that we wanted to. That person was not in the community, but he's our neighbor.
Perfect. He's in your community.
Yes. Yes. Community. But overall, the community is amazing.
Yeah, right. What about you, George? You guys use anybody in the community, sub 2, Gator, top tier?
Same thing. Not using a TC on this one, and just because it was so, I guess, just explaining the process, it went pretty smooth. And but yeah, as far as the community of coming in, not being, I guess, still working on my confidence, but knowing it's not what I know. It's basically just listening and offering what I believe is the perfect, I guess, medicine for their problem, and then just agreeing to it. So I guess thanking the community and obviously all the access to all the I wouldn't say technology, but the sources like the live calls and repeating and rinsing and repeating and understanding stuff that I'm a better closer. I'm just actively listening to the situation and learning to disqualify myself if it feels like I'm not a perfect fit for it, and going through that process.
Yeah, one of my mentors, Michael Burnoff, he always used to say there's 2 words that can help build confidence: decide and do. So you make a decision and then you take action, and then that builds another level of confidence. And then the next decision, and then the next action you take, and they build on top of each other until your confidence is such that, hey, I can go into anything, and if I can figure it out. That's the bottom line. I can figure it out. And if I can't, I have a giant community of people that can help me figure it out.
True.
So it's easy to go in there with your head held high when you've got 15,000 people behind you that's willing to help you at the drop of a hat.
Makes sense.
So awesome. So Keith and Mandy, how has sub 2 impacted your life, or even any of the communities? How has it impacted your life?
Just being in the rooms with people that are doing things that you want to be doing, it's just encouraging. Like when you go to dinner with your neighbors or your family who's not in real estate, the conversation is different. They don't understand. You can't have the same conversation, bouncing ideas back and forth. But when you get in a room or a community or even a virtual area and people are doing that, it's inspiring. When people are sharing their wins, even their losses, their lessons, the energy is different. Everyone wants to support each other. Everybody wants to share their secret sauce to win, different keys, solutions, things to think about. And that's so it significantly changed our network alone, learning private money. And then we've joined several communities locally here that we've made some of our best friends with.
And that's awesome. And I've always said it's fun to make money. It's even more fun to make money with your friends.
100%. Yeah. And then all the kids get to play together too. So when we go network, we all bring kids. They're out having a blast. We're out having a blast. We're hanging out with friends, but also talking business at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I will tell you, one of the game changers for me, now that I have a fund and I'm always constantly raising capital, is everybody's a potential investor. I'll sit next to someone in a plane. I'll be standing behind somebody at Home Depot. I'll be in line in the grocery store, and everybody is a potential investor. But we have no idea until we start that dialogue. And then you start to realize that, oh yeah, I've got a self-directed IRA. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, self-directed IRA is $1 trillion business. There's a lot of money out there that needs to be invested, and people are just getting tired of the stock market. They're getting tired of Bitcoin. And so they want what we have to offer, and they want to understand that we can secure real estate creatively without getting banks involved. And now everybody's making money.
And it's asset-based. So you're helping them, because a lot of people are interested in it, but they don't have the time, or they don't have the knowledge or the skills, but they still want to get involved. So they might have the capital, they have a W-2 and a higher paycheck. They can invest and still be part of it, still learn as much as they want to, and get the returns without having to swing a hammer. Yeah,
they want the cash flow, they want the tax benefits and the tax shelters, but they don't want to be an operator. They don't want to go in there and fix toilets. None of that. They just want that paycheck every month and that write-off at the end of the year. So
there's tons of ways to get involved.
Yeah, great point. Keith, what about you? You want to expand on that at all? How it's impacted your life?
I mean, basically what Mandy said, but it's also cool is because we get to go on vacation this year. We went out to community camp. We drove our RV from Florida to Montana, and hung out in Montana. So like we make life out of it now. You know, it's like part of the kids' journey too, and yeah, it's just the community it's amazing.
Did you guys stay at Pace's RV Park up there?
Yes. Yep, we sure did.
Perfect. Yeah. I was talking to Molly. I was talking to Molly Tennant when they first got that park, and she was telling me how amazing that park is up there.
Yep. Yeah, it was super cool. We stayed there for 3 or 4 nights, I think, and then we stayed at Pace's house with the RV one of the nights too, because our day with Pace was like right around that same time frame. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty cool up there. Quite an experience.
I love it. George, how about you, my friend? How has Sub 2 impacted your life?
Oh man, piggybacking on Mandy and Keith, same thing. Just a community, and obviously getting to know different people, and obviously using it kind of like a barometer of where I'm at now compared to where I may have been 3 years ago. To where there are certain people asking the same questions, and it's like, oh man, I remember when I was asking those questions. So it is kind of having that reflection of appreciating where I'm at now, and knowing that there's so much more left to go, and to not stop, but also being able to give back as well, and knowing that there's different avatars, which I can relate to as far as being a connector, but learning how to like you're alluding to, the confidence of knowing I can help you in this deal, but how do I look? What's the equation look like with me included in it? But I want to give you as much, but I'm learning that my time is valuable. And so I need to spend that time with the right people and helping me with that.
I don't know. That's a huge aha moment. I hope people take that away. I always say, your time is worth $1,500 or more an hour. And so you can't be wasting that time on something that doesn't serve you or helps you build a better or stronger relationship with somebody in the community.
Facts.
So I love that. Okay, Keith and Mandy, 2025 is next week. What is on deck for you guys? What do you guys planning on doing for the next year?
Ironically, we just did our vision goal casting this morning.
Nice.
So we're looking to move into doing 2 to 3 flips per month. We just solidified our construction company here, our construction crew here. And that's what we wanted to get into, and that's the capacity that they can handle. So it's kind of like a win-win. We want to make sure that they're busy. We want to increase our lending to $2 million per month. So we have a lending company called My Funding Ninja, and we do all investor loans, DSCRs, fix and flips, residential portfolio, as well as bridge loans. We're starting 2-day boot camps that we're going to be doing creative finance, flipping 101, wholesaling 101, and then PML, how to be a good borrower and how to also become the bank. So a 2-in-1. And then building our affiliate marketing based on our social media presence. We really need to hone in our social media skills and make that a focal point. That tends to get stick to the back burner because we have so many other things going on. But social media is one of the most important. It's like, why aren't you showing people what you're doing all day? You're busy 18 hours a day, but you're not documenting any of it and sharing that with the community so they can learn and advertise that. So that's a nutshell.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because people go, I need to record content, but really you're just making a documentary. This is what I'm doing, and this is what you guys could be doing too if you took this kind of action. And so when you think about it as I'm filming a documentary versus I'm creating content, it's a whole different feel, and it's a much easier with less of a burden going, oh my gosh, I got to create content. But you're not creating content, you're just documenting all the cool stuff you're doing and the way you're making money and how you're helping other people. So that's awesome. I'm excited for you guys.
Exactly. Well, thank you. I love that perspective too, because that's really what it is, to show people what you're doing every day instead of trying to put on a skit and reading from a piece of paper that you're stumbling, because that's not authentic. But if you're in front of your computer or you're walking a project, that's real and relatable.
Yeah. And people can smell that from a mile away.
I started just doing the lives on Instagram. Just, all right, cool. It's going to be uncut. Like, I'm just going to do it. That way it's out there. But if I don't do it at that moment, then I'll forget to upload it and edit it and all that stuff later anyway. So I'm like, well, might as well learn on the fly.
Yeah, I'm part of Vina Jetty's community. One of the things we did is we did a 5-minute live every day for 30 straight days. For the first couple, you're like looking at a timer going, oh my gosh, can I do 5 minutes? But then after that, 5 minutes goes like that, and 30 days just flew by. And then I got so much feedback from people going, oh my gosh, I just love jumping on and listening to what you're talking about. Even if I couldn't join you live, I was still following you. So, you know, I always tell people, if you want to get into social media, just give yourself a 5-minute a day, 30-day challenge, and it becomes easier every single day.
That's awesome.
So,
all right, well, maybe I'll add that to the list.
Yeah, and here's what's really cool too is you can jump on and do a Instagram live with somebody else. Like, I'd be happy to get on and do a 5-minute live with you guys and just have a conversation. Those are so much fun too. And then my audience watches and your audience watches, and then we cross collaborate, and then people start following you and vice versa. It really is a cool way to do it. And it costs you no money. So
I didn't know that was even an option.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then the next thing I do is, you know, when I go to meetups, instead of immediately giving people my Blink card, I have them scan my my Instagram QR code and say, follow me. And then I go, oh, by the way, I also have a Blink card. You want that too? So now I'm meeting people out there and we're connecting on Instagram, and now I have a connection. I go, okay, yeah, I remember meeting you at that event. And so that's kind of how I'm growing my social media too, is when I'm out there, I just have them scan that instead of my Blink card.
That's smart. I love that.
Yeah. So yes, take that, use it. It's fun.
Thanks for the nuggets.
Yes,
of course. You know, we all learn together. That's the beauty of this community, right? I mean, I can do a fraction of what I'm doing by myself, but I can do a whole lot more with all you guys.
And it's way more fun.
And it's way more fun for sure. George, my friend, 2025 next week. What's on deck for you and your team?
Same as Mandy and Keith alluded to yesterday. Had a little private, like a goal setting for next year and where everybody's at, and knowing that different people, whether they're a couple levels ahead of you, there's ways that we can work together.
Yeah.
And so it is obviously we're looking at what's worked and what hasn't, but continue to get better at what's been working, which for me it is trying to get one wholesale assignment a month, and also JVing. But with those people that I did make those assignment fees with last year, how can we do this more on a consistent basis? And where do I fit in and what you guys are doing? And being more consistent on my YouTube page. I've been I look back, I had the same amount of videos last year than I did this year, but it is to continue doing that and like saying just putting that in your schedule. And now that I'm part of this network event that I'm hosting once a month here in Houston, being more intentional with the people that are attending, where sometimes I may not have that one-on-one opportunity to get with you, but make it an effort during the week of following up with the list, seeing how I can help you, how we can help each other with our businesses, and knowing what, like you said, Jason, you never know who's that investor or may have the money and has that list. Hey, I have a list, man. Do you mind calling it for me? Like, yeah, man, I got a VA, man. Let's chunk it up to them. And when it comes through, I'll reach out to you first and see what you want to do, whether you want to be part of the assignment or you want to buy from me, and see how we can work together and eventually start leveraging those relationships to where instead of just assigning them, sacrificing that assignment fee to be a potential owner of that property, whether it's through equity.
Yeah.
Or,
and you definitely want to build a portfolio for you, because you're going to make a lot of money assigning, and you're going to need buy and holds to offset those taxes.
True.
Of course, I need to say I'm not a tax attorney, please, or a CPA, so please reference those people. But I just know from my own experience, that's why I have buy and hold portfolios, because I have wholesale things. I have gotten connected fees. I do have a TC business. And so I need to offset that. And that's what my CPA said is, build your portfolio. And so, George, I think the most powerful thing for you, and I will tell you from my personal experience, is I became a better student when I became a teacher. So now that you've done creative deals, get out there and help some wholesalers get out there and get their deals, and take a little piece of that pie. There are, I think, well over 100,000 people in the free creative group that could use guidance from you, from Keith, from Mandy, that they want to get a deal. They want to be consistent. They want to do the right things, but they're not in the sub-2 community. So get in there and help them out and become better yourself. And then, put a little coin in your pocket too. There's definitely nothing wrong with that.
True.
I think it's our responsibility.
100%.
We were fortunate enough to pick up things from, I learned so much from just this podcast alone on the 32 minutes that we've been here, based on the couple of years that we've been in here, that it's our responsibility to share that with other people so they can grow too.
Yeah. And I can remember I joined Sub2 just over 2 years ago. And I remember everybody that helped me, and I made an oath that I would always continue to pay it forward. So for me, it's part of who I am. I've got no choice but to continue to pay it forward for every person that reached out to me when I first started.
Which is also amazing, because I feel like a majority of the community, I want to say everybody, but I haven't met anybody doesn't fit that bill. Everybody's a go-giver. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to see everybody else succeed. And right. I think it's the same thing, that they felt that love and appreciation and gift when they came in the community, and everybody pays it forward too. And will offer anything that they can, whether it's money, JVing, lessons, tidbits, referrals.
Yeah. And I can promise you, those who aren't go-givers, they just weed themselves out. That just happens. Yeah. It's okay. And it's okay. So that segues to my next thing there, Mandy. What would you say to somebody who was on the fence about joining? Because we've talked about all these amazing things. So what would you say to somebody who's on the fence? Because I come across this all the time.
I don't know why you're waiting. The network alone will pay for itself. You can do one deal that completely covers the cost of getting into the program. And then you have these relationships indefinitely for life. And that's invaluable. You can't put a price tag on the relationships and the network that you develop, and the resources at your fingertips. You'll never make it through the whole course. I think people get nervous about that, of not being able to get through all the course. You'll never get through it. You'll never be able to get on every single live, but having the ability to get on at your convenience, on a recording, on a live, the Facebook groups, the Kajabis, anywhere you need to be, you will have someone available to help you succeed. And there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, and we've been doing this for quite a while. And like every time I hop on a Zoom, like I always pick up something.
Yeah.
Like Mandy always calls them nuggets. She's like, there's always a nugget, like a little nugget of information I learned on this one, and it's so cool to still have that. And like you do learn, like we've been doing a lot of stuff, and we still learn that all the time.
And you make a great point. There is a lot of content in there. And I will tell you, my strongest learning came from going to get a deal. And then once I figured out how that deal was structured, then I went and did a deep dive into the vault to say, okay, now I got to educate myself on this, because there's no greater motivation to learn something than to actually have a deal under contract.
100%.
So I mean, and bless their hearts, there are people out there that want to understand every single thing before they get a deal. But you can hit fast forward on the learning if you just get the deal and then go learn it, or find someone who's done it and mirror them, because here's the thing, there are people out in this community that are incredibly successful, and they're not successful because they're better than me. They're successful because they're doing it different. Once I learn how they're doing it different, then I got it. I'm making money too. And so that's the thing people need to remember. And that's why you guys keep harping on the community so much, is because that's the true value, right? Somebody has done it. Somebody's made the mistake. Somebody's willing to tell you what they did so that you can avoid it. So those are all great points.
And there's no price tag for that.
There isn't. And that's the free part of the community that nobody understands. Yeah, you bought the content, you bought the learning, you bought the access to Pace. But all those other people and all those other learnings and all those other lessons learned, that came for free. Effort. The only paycheck for that is effort. You just put in the effort and you get it. So,
and I think George said something about the avatars earlier, and like just having like even those like sections where you can go and say, you know what, I like doing this, or I like doing this, and that's what's cool about the community is there's so many different avenues that one person could take. Like, hey, I really like the TC stuff, so I'm gonna hone in on that. Where somebody might go, I'm more comfortable flipping houses because I know a little bit about construction. So that the different avatars in the community too is amazing too. Just how diverse the whole community is.
Yeah, and you make a great point, because I remember when top tier underwriting and top tier TC came out. They came out close to the same time, I believe. I remember my business partner, she went down the underwriting route, and I went to the TC route because I'm one of those guys that I wanted to understand what went on behind the curtain. So I took top tier TC selfishly so I could understand for my own deals. And it just so happens that I ended up helping so many people that, now I'm part owner of a TC company. But my point being is really, if you think about it, Pace designed a community where you can book in both parts of a transaction, where you've got underwriting on the front end, you have top tier TC on the back end, and in between is the sub 2 creative and the Gator lending or the PML lending, and it's all works together in a nice, neat little package. And then you go on top of it, what you guys are doing is Owners Club, and that's taking it to a whole nother level. So there's really, if you want to take over the world, there's nothing stopping you.
That's no excuses.
Yeah. So did we all get a chance to give input on what we would say to somebody who was on the fence? Pretty much don't wait, do it, figure it out, partner with somebody you can, anything.
Yep, true. Yeah, I'm like you're saying, Jason, just going in the free group and looking who needs help.
Yeah.
Offering that help.
Yeah. I mean, I got an incredible deal in the free Facebook group that somebody brought to the free group, and I looked at it and I said, I want it. I want to buy it. So, I mean, that's where, I find deals in there just as much as I find them in the sub 2 group. And sometimes when I need to, network with people because I need to find PML or I need to sell off a property, I put it in that free group and I get answers like that. No questions asked. So if you're not utilizing the free group, you guys start there. It's free. So Keith, Mandy, you guys are doing incredible things. 2025 is coming. How can people connect with you? Because I'm sure after seeing this, people are going to want to reach out.
Instagram. Our Instagram name is up on the screen. That's probably the best way. Just DM us on Instagram. Mine's at Keith Konecki. So
okay.
And we also have a YouTube channel with the same at the connection.
Perfect.
Yep. And then we have My Funding Ninja. If you guys are looking for PML, Gator, or DSCR loans, we do pad splits. You can hit us up there. There's our emails on there and everything like that. Yeah.
Perfect. What about you, George? How can people get in connection with you? Because I know they're going to want to. They're going to want to learn wholesaling.
I can just follow me by my name on Facebook, George Paredes, and you can look me up the same on Instagram. It's Mr. Buy Your Home. YouTube, same thing, just with the THE in front of George Paredes. I'm on there with a couple of interviews I've done. And maybe if Keith and Mandy are interested, maybe we can schedule that in 2025 so more people can know what you're doing. And then if I do have something in your area, vice versa, seeing what
Let's
possibly
do it.
this
Definitely.
So,
I just
That
started,
was on our list too. Let's get on more podcasts.
Yep.
there you go.
I just started following you too on Instagram. So
There you go.
Awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you
Awesome.
so much. I was so glad to be a part of this interview. I'm glad we're wrapping up 2024 with stories like these.
Thank you.
That
This
is so
fun. Thank
awesome.
you all.
Seriously. Hopefully I put your at in the chat. So hopefully you said it was Mr. By Your Home, George?
Yes, Mr. By Your Home.
Perfect. Okay. Sweet. So you can definitely see that in the comments if you'd like to follow him as well. And I also put Keith and Mandy's loan website in there. So go ahead and check that website out for yourself. But yeah, honestly, this was so much fun to listen to. I'm so glad that y'all came on here. Just being able to see in real time that you all are learning from each other and how many opportunities there are to collaborate with one another in the paid community, but also how you were getting deals in the free community. That's phenomenal. The other thing that I just wanted to say that really resonated with me in producing this kind of social media content, because I actually helped Pace out with some of his social media content. And you had it right on the nose, Mandy, about the people wanting this real and raw behind the scenes stuff. And Jason, when you were saying that it's more documentary style, that's so true. So that was really fun to hear y'all's perspective on that. And I just really appreciate you taking the time, because yeah, nobody's paying you to come on here. You're doing this because of how much the community has changed your lives. So I love it so much. Love to hear it. And with that, I will bid you all a good day, and hope you have a wonderful start to your 2025 season.
Right
Thanks,
on.
Alex. Thanks,
you.
Jason, George.
nice
Happy
meeting
New
everyone.
Year, everybody.
All right. Well, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep.
See you
See
soon.